Welcome to the Trill and BA Show. I'm your host, Felicia Ann Rose, a Nuha, aka the trillest MBA you will ever know. And I'm here to help you survive and thrive in corporate America by giving you the truth and being as real as only I can be. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to the show. We are winding down. We're like, Christmas is on the brain. It's coming. Like, I can't even believe that 2022 is coming to an end. Season 6. We made it. I think we made it. I don't know what we made. So this most likely is going to be the last episode of the season and of the year. We may do a recap episode before the year is up, but that's TBD, guys, because we got a lot of things that we're over here working on at Fair World Media. Like, 2023 is about to be lit. I'm excited. We're working very hard to create and expand and do dope shit. So today, I just wanted to make sure I closed out the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. We have the last 3 principles of the last section, section 4, which is all about how to be a leader. I actually have really taken part 4 personally and realizing oh man, I've made some mistakes in my corporate journey. But part 4 is called Be a Leader, How to Change People Without Giving Offense or Arousing Resentment. I have definitely given all the offense and I have aroused all the resentment. Not on purpose, though. That was not my intention, but it definitely was my impact. So yeah, guys, just humans humaning in the workplace. So we are down to the last 3 principles. Principle number 7. The title of this chapter for this principle is Give a Dog a Good Name. So understand, this book was written in the early 1900s, right? All these things were happening in the early 1900s. I guess this book was written in the mid 1900s, but still, anybody listening to this podcast, you probably were not born when Dale Carnegie was writing this book. That's just probably what it was. And if you were born when Dale Carnegie was writing this book, hit me up, because I'd love to understand what you get out of this show, why you listen to this show, because I want to hear from all my listeners. I definitely appreciate everybody that listens, but I'm always intrigued when more seasoned vets are listening to the show, because I feel like I'm still learning. This is a journey we're all going on. I'm taking you on. But Dale Carnegie, in this chapter, he has several vignettes about stories that illustrate his point. But at the end of the day, this chapter is really about how to get someone to change their attitude or their behavior, right? As a leader, it is important that we motivate and inspire. That is something I have recently learned in that articulation. I think intuitively, I've always known that, a good leader does motivate and inspire, but to have that be put in that particular language really made me think that you really do have to inspire people and move them to action. And that's where the motivate comes. So you have to motivate and inspire. And what I love about this is that Dale Carnegie says, if you want to excel in that difficult leadership role of changing the attitude or behavior of others, use principle number 7, give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. And so this has been a tactic that I use with managing my own perception, managing the narrative at work. I use this tactic as a part of building my wall, right? This tactic is a way to cause cognitive dissonance, but it does it in a very positive way. So some of the points he illustrates, one of the ones is very simple, but it drives home, is about a teacher, a fourth grade teacher, who was going to have this little boy in her class whose reputation preceded him. His name was Tommy T. I guess Tommy Terrible, right? But his third grade teacher had went on and on and on about how horrible he was, how disruptive he was. You know, he was one of those kids. And basically, it sounds like he was one of those smart kids who was bored, learned quickly, got his work done quickly, and then didn't have anything else to do because mischief and mayhem in the classroom, right? We have all either been that kid or know that kid. And so what this teacher decided to do the first day of class in the fourth grade is she went around to every student and she said, positive things to them. She greeted them and she made little comments to each of them like, Rose, that's a pretty dress you're wearing. And Alicia, I hear you draw beautifully. And then when she came to Tommy, she looked him straight in the eyes and said, Tommy, I understand you are a natural leader. Now, I'm sure this little boy, 9 years old, all his life, he's been told that he's a terror. He's been fussed at, he's been reprimanded, he's just all these negative things. And so she telling him, Tommy, I understand you are a natural leader. I'm going to depend on you to help me make this class the best class in the fourth grade this year. And then she went on to reinforce this over the first few days by complimenting Tommy on everything he did and commenting on how that showed what a good student he was. And then now he has this new reputation to live up to. And so he'll live up to that reputation now. So the way I use this tactic at work is definitely with my cross-functional partners in getting things done. Right. And it also helps drive my narrative. So that's when I was like, let me put the two together in explaining and articulating what I naturally just do at work that I know it works. So let's say you have a particularly persnickety cross-functional partner or coworker, somebody you have to work with on a project, right? So what I do is like midway through the project, no matter how it's really going, it could be going great, it could be going, it could be going, ugh, right? No matter what, I try to find something positive that I like about this person. And it's always something like, even if they're challenging the project and, making it difficult to meet deadlines or whatever they're doing, maybe they have some points to challenge, right? Maybe they're just doing their job. I find whatever the thing is that is positive. And then I email their boss and I blind CC them on the email. And I say, hey, such and such, I just want to send you a quick note to let you know that I've really enjoyed working with XYZ direct report of yours. And here's why. And here's what I appreciate. And they've been doing a great job of doing that. And I really, expect that they're going to help us get blah, 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 blah. And so when you do that and you BCC them on the email, an amazing thing happens because now you've set an expectation. And one thing about basic human behavior, just the basic psychology of humans, is that we will feel compelled to rise to the expectation. If we know what the expectation is, we will rise to the expectation. Most people will, unless they are just incapable of doing it, which then causes all kinds of friction and frustration. And you most often see that in the parent-child dynamic, when a parent is expecting their child to do XYZ and their child just either innately does not want to do that, like be a doctor. Like, I don't want to be a doctor. I'm not built to be a doctor, mom. So I'm not going to be a doctor. And so, then you feel like you fail. But in actuality, that was just a bad expectation. But if you have a positive expectation of somebody's behavior, they will rise to that occasion. And this is what this principle is truly breaking down. So how you use this at work You give people positive things in the direction of that behavior you want them to exhibit, and you set that expectation in that tone, then you don't even have to say, like, I expect blah, blah. No, that's not the right language. What you just say is, hey, you're an amazing blah, 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 and you do this great, and I see great things from you. And what you will see is an amazing person. And you can even do this with your manager. You can tell your manager, like, hey, I think you're an amazing manager. You always do all these great things, blah, blah, blah. Even if sometimes they don't do those things, just say the things that you want them to do. And then the next thing you know, that's what they'll start doing. It is the strangest psychological thing, but every human is susceptible to this, and every human will do this.
Really? Well, I'll be.
Even humans that are like, wait, I heard this on the Trill and BA show. I'm not falling for it. Oh, yeah, you will. It's a psychological thing. It's like deep in the recesses of our minds. Even I do it. So, like, every time I get ready to quit the Trill and BA show, every time I get ready to quit doing this podcast, somebody comes along and is like, oh, your podcast is so wonderful. I love it so much. And it helps this and that. And thank you for doing this show. I'd be like, oh, shit. Gotta keep going. So here we are, 6 seasons in the Trill and BA show. With that, guys, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to talk about the next principle, principle 8, which this principle is interesting because it seems just duh, but there's actually a way to execute it when we get back from the break. Hey guys, Alicia here. So if you are looking at 2023 like, this is the year that I'm going to get promoted. Well, let me tell you something. I am here to help. If you are finding yourself like, I'm going to get promoted this year, but I don't know how to do that, I got you. I got you. We will definitely be having a course starting at the beginning of the year in the first quarter, where we will walk you through all the things you need to do in order to prepare yourself and your organization for a promotion. The outcome of this course is one of two things. Either you're going to get promoted and you know you're going to get promoted, or you know that your organization's on some BS and it's time to leave. But you will have clarity on those two things. Most of the time, our clients have gotten promoted. And then there's been a few times where it's like, oh, you were the Negro that they wanted to stay in a particular place and they're not trying to promote you. And that does happen. And so what you then do is take all the things you learned and you go to the next company that will pay you more and you will be happy ever after. Hopefully. It's still corporate America, guys. So with that said, head on over to trillandba.com/coaching and let's schedule a call to see if this course is right for you. If you want your company to make an investment in you, this is the perfect course to do that. This is complete professional development that will help you get on a fast track in your organization. So go on over to trillandba.com/coaching and sign up for a 15-minute consult so we can make sure that you are the right person for this class. All right, guys, back to the show. So we are back. We are 2 principles away from tackling this whole book. I really like this book because tactically it gives like the examples of here's how you should shift your language. This book is a masterclass on language, and I hope that you've gotten like nuggets out of this that you're actually going to work and using. That's been the goal. So for principle 8, the title of the chapter is Make the Fault Seem Easy to Correct. And the problem with work is that some people make mistakes that are just, it's like, but I need to like call you on the carpet for this. But the truth is, most things you really don't. And you can say, oh, okay, that happened. What do we learn from it? And let's move on. And so in corporate, that's how this plays out. It is definitely a moment of, hey, okay, so we lost this account, or, production was off and we didn't get the shipment out. So we lost sales or something, the bad things that happen at work, the unfortunate things that happen at work. And so, it might not even be all of your fault. And it might not even be all of the person's fault that you work with that you have to call out as a leader. But as a leader, you will be received better and respected more if you give this type of correction. And it's more of, okay, what did we learn from this? Everything is a learning. Everything's not going to be perfect. And putting more gravity on situations than really it needs. And this is the thing I hate about corporate, because people act like this is the end all be all. And I'm here to say, unless somebody died, to me, that's the end all be all. Like, is this going to kill somebody? If you're working and it's like, okay, somebody could die. Okay, yeah, this is serious, right? We need to get a little bit more. But if the package didn't get on the shelf, nobody's going to die. Who going to die? Nobody. Nobody dying, right? So you need to keep that in mind and be that even-keeled leader to say, hey, okay, let's do a postmortem. Let's find out what happened. In this book, some of the examples that he used, and I thought was really cool, was this one about this man who was divorced, and his son, David, was 15 years old. And when the son was young, he got into a car accident when he was 3, and it put this gash on his forehead. And so everybody was just basically like making fun of him and saying, your brain oozed out the front of your head, you got brain damage, whatever, right? Again, words mean things, especially when you're younger. And so basically, he had gone to live with his mother, and he'd been in the Dallas school system, which, Lord have mercy. And so he ended up being like 2 years behind in school because of his age. And he was told he was special needs and all these things, right? They put all these stigmas on this poor child. So then this guy, he lived in Ohio, and the son came to live with him. And one thing the son, and I'm paraphrasing all this because I'm not going to read all this, but the son loved to work in radio and TV. And so he told his son, like, hey, if this is something you want to do, you got to get better at math. And, his grades had been miserable before. And so he said, I'm going to help you with your multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. Like, we're going to get some flashcards and we're going to go through it. Like, we're talking 3rd, 4th grade flashcards, right? Think that. And so he just did these drills, and he showed him like, hey, you can learn. And he worked with him, and every night they practiced. And then he started realizing like, oh my God, I can learn. And then his grades in algebra went up, and he came home with a B in math, and that never happened before. And the crazy thing is that when you take away the negative stigma you put on somebody, then they realize their actual ability.
Blood hell.
And that's what this is about. It's like, if you want somebody to do better in the workplace, then you have to help them remember like the good things they've done. You have to use encouragement. And so this principle is, if you want to help others to improve, remember, use encouragement. Make the fault seem easy to correct. This way you give people an out. And Dale Carnegie talks about that in other chapters. Like, let people save face. Let them learn from their mistakes. Let them see that the mistake is we can fix it. It's a solution we have to come up with. Not a big deal. Be encouraged, right? I think what's hard is that in corporate, we, especially Black women in corporate, but everyone in corporate feels that any mistake is detrimental. And we need to get out of that thinking. And we also need to stop hyping up. When I make a mistake now at work, what I do is, oh, okay, I made a mistake. And I just temper that down. I quickly find a solution, say, hey, this happened, but this is what I'm doing to fix it. I shift the focus to the positive. Do not panic and then get all, oh my God, I gotta tell the world, blah, blah, blah. Something recently happened. I was in a training and I was very vocal. And I'm not gonna say this is necessarily a mistake, but it might be a faux pas. It could do some damage to the narratives I've tried to create, what have you, because I was very vocal. Now, what I was saying was right, but who cares about that? I'm a Black woman in corporate. But, it could be, I might have ruffled a feather or two, which I'm fine with, actually. And so what happened was my old self would have been like, okay, let me call my boss and let me tell her what happened and let me, try to, whatever. No, not doing none of that. I said what I said. I did what I did. Moving on. Just don't acknowledge it. If it comes back around, be like, oh, I don't, my perspective was I was engaged. I gave my POV and I was sharing my thoughts on the business and using my business acumen to come up with some solutions. Sorry that was my only intention. Sorry if somebody else took it another way. Shoulder shrug. So I really have learned to not bring extra awareness to things and to spin things positively. And that's where use encouragement becomes so important, because you have to encourage yourself. You have to encourage others. In times, especially now with all these layoffs and, people feeling like, oh, I better stay in this job. I got these benefits. I got this check. I guess, girl, I guess. I think we've put too much stock in our identities and tied our identities to the workplace. And we are holding a lot of fear around these jobs, which is why I work to put out this content to help you understand that, one, you're not alone, and two, you don't have to stay where you are. And there are tactics to help you manage day to day to get through and get to your next assignment. So not only use encouragement, but stay encouraged. Now, when we get back from the break, we're going to finish up with the last principle of the entire book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I don't know how, but Dale Carnegie really believes he can make people glad to do what you want. So we're going to talk about it when we get back from the break. Hey, it's Fair. Felicia Ann Rose, Aduha. Listen, I want you guys to know that my team is fiercely figuring out what the 2023 Patreon gifts and things are going to be. We're going to change the structure of the Patreon. Right now we have 2 levels. I believe that might change to 1. I have to confer with them. I probably shouldn't be saying all that. But hey, it's the Trill NBA show. So if you want to get in now is the time. Join Patreon. All the Patreon people who join before January, we have something special we're working on just for you. And all of our OG Patreons, we got you. 2023 is about to be litty. I'm excited about the new year. So head on over to patreon.com/TrillNBA show and join our Patreon. There right now is an exclusive episode only for Patreon members. You will be getting more exclusive content in 2023. We are very excited. We will definitely be doing some video content. Ooh. I know. I'm gonna have to put clothes on. But yeah, no, it's going to be awesome. So come help the show. Join us on Patreon. We appreciate your help and support. And we are going to get back to the show. All right. Wrapping up How to Win Friends and Influence People, the last principle of the book. The title of this chapter is Making People Glad to Do What You Want. I'm sorry. I'm not glad to do anything. So, Dale Carnegie, what you talking about? He outlines his strategy for getting people to happily change their behavior and attitude. He says the effective leader should keep the following guidelines in mind when it is necessary to change attitudes or behavior. Number 1, be sincere. Do not promise anything that you cannot deliver. Forget about the benefits to yourself and concentrate on the benefits to the other person. Guideline number 2, know exactly what it is you want the other person to do. Number 3, be empathetic. Ask yourself what it is the other person really wants. Number 4, consider the benefits that person will receive from doing what you suggest. Number 5, match those benefits to the other person's wants. And number 6, when you make your request, put it in a form that will convey to the other person the idea that he personally will benefit. We could give a curt order like this. John, we have customers coming in tomorrow, and I need the stock room cleaned out. So sweep it out, put the stock in neat piles on the shelves, and polish the counter. Or we could express the same idea by showing John the benefits he will get from doing the task. John, we have a job that should be completed right away. If it is done now, we won't be faced with it later. I am bringing some customers in tomorrow to show our facilities. I would like to show them the stockroom, but it is in poor shape. If you could sweep it out, put the stock in neat piles on the shelves, and polish the counter, it would make us look efficient, and you will have done your part to provide a good company image. Now, the caveat that Dale Carnegie says, which I was like, I had thought this, like, well, what if John don't care about this company or this job? What if John is like, fuck this job? Mm-hmm. And what if John hates you? Well, that's the caveat, right? So you have to understand what is John's motivating factor. Assuming you know that John has pride in the way his stockroom looks and is interested in contributing to the company image, then he'll be more likely to cooperate. This is what Dale Carnegie says. It also will have been pointed out to John that the job would have to be done eventually, and by doing it now, he won't be forced to do it later. John also has to care about that, right? So Dale Carnegie also says, don't be naive. This will work, but it won't work all the time, right? So you have to, roll with it, have it in your back pocket, think through it, right? But the thing I love about what Dale Carnegie says, and he says, and if you increase your successes by even a mere 10%, you have become 10% more effective as a leader than you were before. And that is your benefit. And he says, people are more likely to do what you would like them to do when you use principle number 9, make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. And so it really is the whole what's in it for me principle, right? Like you have to tell the other person what's in it for them, what the benefit is for them. And you have to understand their motivations as a leader. I know it's very, very tiring work to lead people. And I know a lot of you are out there saying, I don't ever want to be a people leader. I just want to be an individual contributor. And that's great. But even as an individual contributor, you have to manage up, down, and side by side around you. You have to manage your coworkers. You have to manage these relationships in order to make sure you're getting done what needs to be done in your role. We don't work in silos. I mean, some companies structure themselves in silos, but even in those silos, you don't work in a silo. So you have to understand how to influence the situation around you in order to get things done. And that's what this whole series was really about, helping you be a boss at work and getting things done. Now, I want you guys to feel empowered. I want you to feel encouraged. I want you to take all of these lessons you've learned over the past years of listening to the Trill MBA show, and I want you to focus on getting what you want out of your corporate journey, out of your career journey, and out of your life. So hopefully this has been helpful. I've had fun breaking down this book. I learned a lot doing these episodes. Next year, next season, we're definitely going to be focusing on results. So I want to hear from you. Please email me at ask@trillinba.com. We want to hear your success stories from 2022, how this show has helped you, what you love best about the show. Please email us and let us know at ask@trillinba.com. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Now, if you have a particular situation you need help with, coaching is now open. You can hit up trillinba.com/coaching and schedule a consultation with me. It's a 45-minute consult and we go through your particular situation. Or you can hit us up at ask@trillinba.com and ask a question. If it's something I can help you with, or if I don't have the answer, I will put you together with the right resource or person to help you through your situation. So again, you can either schedule time with me at trillinba.com/coaching, or you can email us at ask@trillinba.com. All right, guys, in case this is the last episode of the year, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Happy, I don't know, the other holidays that are celebrated. I know everybody's celebrating. Happy New Year. If we don't see you until our next season starts, just know that we are here working behind the scenes, getting ready for season 7. 7 seasons, guys. So hopefully 7 is not the number of endings. We will be back for season 7. Love you all. Be safe. Have fun. Take time off. Rest. Please take the holidays to rest and recharge. And we will see you soon. But until then, keep it trill. The Trill MBA Show is a Fair World Corp LLC production. Executive produced by Felicia and Rose Inuha. Sound design and editing by Chris Mann with Podshaper. Theme music is Kick Push by Ryan Little. Keep it trill every day, y'all.